January 4th meeting of the Centreville Town Council. We'll first rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Council, in your packets, you have the minutes from both the December 7th and December 14th meetings. Are there any additions or corrections?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 7th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 14th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we have a closed session statement from a council closed session that was held on December 14th, 2023. The town council met in closed session on Thursday, December 14th, 2023 at 7:14 p.m. at the Liberty Building, 107 North Liberty Street, second floor meeting room, to discuss personnel in accordance with the Maryland Open Meetings Act. 4 members of the town council voted to close the session. The authority to close the session is found in section 3305 of the general provisions article. The town council discussed the following topics. Personnel, discussed the town manager hiring process. Actions taken. On a 4-0 vote, the town council decided to extend an offer of employment. The following members and staff were present: Ashley H. Kaiser, President; Eric B. Johnson, Jr., Vice President; Daniel B. Worth; and Jim A. Beecham, members; and Carolyn Brinkley, Acting Town Manager. The meeting adjourned at 7:36 p.m. All right. Now for the most fun part of the night. Council Vice President, if you could head down and start to congratulate our Christmas parade winners. It's so nice to see a packed room and so much of it for such a fun and positive reason.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Again, the size of this audience tonight is really heartwarming, and seeing so many young people here. This is one of the most fun of the meetings that we have all year. The folks that worked on floats, the Christmas trees along Lawyers Row did a phenomenal job. And I say that every year, and just when I think that it couldn't be outdone, it's outdone. And so I've had the honor of being one of the parade judges, and I would love you to come up with me if you don't mind, sir. I have a partner in crime that's going to help with the Christmas tree awards, if you don't mind, Rich. We'll get to that just momentarily. But as one of the judges, it is so much fun, but it is also the hardest job in the world to try to pick from among what are the best candidates imaginable. And if you saw the parade this year, we had a little bit of controversy. I don't want to reignite that, but it was a lot of fun on Facebook. Maybe not so much for us, but for those that waded into the social media pool. But I do want to say that it's important to note, because this may not have made it onto social media, that we had a great call with Dr. Patty Salins and said, how do we fix this? And the school system was quite willing to say, let's move the high school dance. Let's go ahead and be in a position where we can exercise the rain date, and we were able to do that. So we really do have a great sense of partnership in this community, and I'm so thrilled to be able to present the formal winners tonight. So what I would like you to do is come forward if your organization is mentioned. Let me present the trophy, and let's get a picture, and then I'll excuse you, and we'll move on to the next winner. So if we can do that, we'll proceed now. All right, I'm going to save best overall for last. Most original. In first place, we have Curly Landworks, LLC. Do we have anybody here from them?
In the back, Eric, back, are the first place.
There it is. I did look ahead of time. You would never know it. All right. Does anybody want to get a picture that might be with you guys?
Betty Jean's getting.
Oh, Betty
in
Jean's
the
right here. If you guys will just come over here.
I just feel like a weirdo in the background.
Again. Get that mic out of the way. Thank you again. Appreciate it. Appreciate your hard work.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks again. All right. In second place, we have Girl Scout Troop 446. he wants to hold that. Oh, yeah.
Like, no, like right in the middle.
All right, thank you guys again, appreciate that. All right, in third place for most original, Crossroads Community and Corsica River. You mind getting a picture? No. Awesome. Thank you again.
Eric, can I say something real quick? So that lady who was just up here, Wendy Martin, is the one who organizes our lineup out at the
Can you come
high
back
school.
up here just for 1 second?
Didn't think you were gonna get put on the spot.
Yeah, I'll blame Carolyn, but you know what? I do want to take a minute. You have done such a phenomenal job, and it is a truly unsung hero award. So if I had something physical to give you, it would say unsung hero award. Thank you for everything that you've done. All right, in keeping with the theme, in first place, we have the American Heritage Girls. In second place, we have Cub Scout Pack 129, again, keeping with the theme. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Great job. Great job. Thank you for coming
you very
tonight.
much.
Great job.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the hard work from you. All right, let me give this to one of you to hold. Thanks again.
All right.
All right. And the best, let me get it from the mic. The best overall, we have CR Realty. Thanks again, appreciate it. And then I'd like to invite Rich Ryan, who is also one of our tireless heroes. He has continued to help champion the Christmas tree decorating along Lawyers Row, and so I'd like to ask him to assist in naming our winners.
We'll go from third to first. Third place this year, first time they've ever participated, the Clover Seeds 4-H Club.
Congratulations.
Second place is the American Heritage Girls 414. They also won in the parade too, right?
Cub Scouts.
And first place, it's funny, that's the same group that won first place last year. Girl Scout Troop 226.
That was my fault. I had it in the wrong spot.
Oh, it's my fault.
Okay, good.
I just want to note that our interim town manager just tried to take the blame for the chaos that just went on. And that is a true leader when she's willing to take one for the council, but I will own the chaos this evening. I appreciate you willing to do that. Congratulations.
All right, congrats to all the winners. Thank you so much for what you do to make the holiday events in town so much more fun. And I think it's bigger and better this year than ever, and it'll just continue to grow. So, awesome. All right, next up, we have an appearance by Sue and Phil Nickerson to discuss Fallen Heroes Memorial Service.
Good evening. Thank you all for the time. I just want to apologize from last year because apparently there was a disconnect. I don't know that you all were invited, whatever. I'm here for survivor, on the survivor end of it. The FOP down here takes care of the memorial service. I do know this year it's going to be on February 13th at 6 o'clock at the Centreville Methodist Church.
Great.
So I want to personally invite all of you. I thought the chief was going to be here because I want to invite him too, because there was no rep from the, from the police department either.
We'll make sure that they get it.
Yeah, so, and if there are any changes, I will get up with you guys and say, hey, look, here's the changes. But, I apologize for that.
No need to apologize.
And, but we want, this is for everyone in the town, the county, everyone's invited, so please come out. It means a lot to the families, it does, because it's not just for Michael, it's for all the fallen, in Centreville,
You're here.
so.
Well, we appreciate you being here, and
Sure.
and thank
No,
you for letting us
Thank you for the
know.
opportunity. I just wanted to come down in person and say, look, you guys are included with this.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it and all the work that you
Thank
do.
you. Just as Michael's mom, I just want to thank you for all the past that you've done for us and the representation. But I also like you to know that next week, February the 9th, is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Week. And that's another reason why, or day, excuse me, and that's another reason why we had hoped that the chief was here so that we could let him know just how much he and his officers are certainly appreciated, not only one day, but every day. So, thank you.
We'll make sure he gets that message.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Mhm, Thank you.
Appreciate you both.
We have the wrong trophy.
Rich, we'll get you straight. It's all Eric's
I
fault.
think I should go home now.
Oh, Carolyn.
Do you have it?
I think one of them too.
I don't know how I could do that bad, but it's possible.
Jamie, you should have been up here helping him. All right, next up, we have an appearance by Leah Hall to discuss Hometown Hero banners.
And as Leah's coming forward, I would just want to tee this up by saying that I am one of what I hope will be more than one sponsors of this initiative. We had an opportunity to talk during the Letters to Santa event at the Legion, where I got a lot smarter on what her aspirations are, which she's about to share, and I think she has a really good plan. I know she'll say this as well. Joe Lilac, the commander of our local American Legion, sends his regrets, but asks that we say on his behalf that the Legion has given their full endorsement of this particular project. So I have every confidence and under your leadership, so I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So, good evening. I'm here to ask for approval and to tell you about the Hometown Heroes program that I want to get started in Centreville. For those of you that do not know, the Hometown Heroes program first started in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in 2006, honoring service members from the town in which they are from by providing a banner displayed within the town with, with the veterans' military service information. So the mission statement, our mission statement here, I would think us, to raise to raise awareness by actively displaying our local past and present veterans and their families amongst our community, to show our appreciation for our veterans' honorific services and lifetime sacrifices, to provide a display of heroism through our township that may instill a sense of pride and values amongst our youth. Before I get into the details, I wanted you guys to know that these are townships right now that already have these up. So it's Rock Hall, Secretary, East Newmarket, Hurlock, Bridgeville, Preston. So they're already like up and in those towns, which I think is amazing. The reason that I'm so passionate about the program is that my son Jason was a United States Marine.
Take your time.
Who was killed in Iraq on April 14, 2003. This program is important for obvious reasons. The people we are honoring have made great sacrifices to serve in the armed forces, and they deserve our honor and respect. I have the complete support of the American Legion, Jeff Davis Post 18, and the local Sergeant Jason Mollier Marine Corps League 1147, which is named after my son, of which I am a lifetime member. So to get started, we would advertise. So we could put the information on the American Legion's website. I could start a Facebook page for Centreville's Hometown Heroes, like specifically for that. The Marine Corps League has a Facebook page. I spoke with Carolyn, and she could put like a blurb in the water bill in town. And then outreach, like contact families of veterans if you know people who have veterans, or, you know, things like that. And the order form locations would be like at the town office. Jeff Davis Post 18 would have them. And then, of course, on the Facebook pages, there's a link that they could, you know, link on and just get it automatically downloaded. So who is it for? It's for, I have, the Hometown Heroes Banner Program honors veterans, both living and deceased, active duty members of the armed forces originally from or currently residing in Centreville. Each banner features the individual's photo, name, branch of service, and credentials. Sponsored by companies, organizations, and families, the banners will be displayed on light poles throughout the town of Centreville. So I got them to send me an example, and it's really, really, this is the size that we would get. So it's, you know, both sides, it's printed on both sides. So it would be one per flagpole.
We could put this on our light poles, Carolyn?
So I'll speak to that. In fact, when Lee and I first met, and Joe Lilac, one of the first things I said was, I know this council, as we should be, is very risk averse. And so because we were one of probably the only towns on the Eastern Shore that actually went to Delmarva Power and said, are we allowed to do holiday decorations on our poles? And we were officially told no, while we're watching all the other townships and towns, municipalities still proceed in doing so. And what we found out in the process is that they didn't ask permission the way we asked permission. So no good deed goes unpunished. But in all seriousness, in this case, what I have offered to do is help to be a mediator to set up some time to meet with Delmarva Power executives to basically say, our understanding is you've kind of looked the other way in these other municipalities, but in our community, we would like to do this the appropriate way, do it officially. So my commitment as one of the sponsors is to help in that process.
And I can help. I have a good contact
That'd
there.
be
I
great.
can help.
Excellent. Right, because when I spoke to the other townships, they did say that. They said that they did not seek approval. And then Delmarva Power came up to them and said, of course, we're not going to take them down. But they didn't seek approval.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Town attorney's like, oh, gosh.
She's happy with the way forward.
So the cost is, it's $200 for the cost. And it would be self-pay. We're not going to do fundraising or anything like that. So if a business would like to sponsor someone that they know, a family member or whatever, that would be wonderful. Like the Legion offered to pay for Jason's, or the Marine Corps League offered to pay for Jason's. So things like that can happen. So the American Legion is willing to accept the money. Like, the people will make the check to the American Legion. They will hold it in an account for me. And then when the invoices come in, they will pay the invoices. So it's $200, and it's about $178 per flag, and it comes with the actual, things that go on the poles. So the Legion it's about $23 that they'll be able to keep. And the Legion does a ton of stuff for this, I mean, I have no problem with that. And I figured at the end, the people who helped, the people with bucket trucks, the people who are willing to help put them up, we could get them something out of that money, just an appreciation thing, maybe a get together like that. So when I talk to Hometown Heroes, it has to be a minimum of 10 at a time, or it's a $100 charge. So when the people fill out the forms, they drop them off at Post 18. They give me the information. I make copies of the checks and have a spreadsheet. I will type in the information, send it to the families, make sure it's correct, and then they'll send it back, and then I can submit it. I'll upload their photos and things like that. The turnaround is 6 weeks. I'd like to have it here and up by May 27th, Memorial Day. That's going to be tough. So we have to have a deadline of April the 1st. So that's why I would like to just put it out here and be like, if you want a flag, April 1st, I have to have them all in and submit it. So I know it's a short minute, but it's like what we have to do to, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
if we move forward with the conversation with Delmarva, and I'm sure we all feel.
I know one of the other questions folks would likely have, as I know I did, was, well, what about maintenance? Because clearly
That
the
does
last
not fall
thing-
on the town, right?
Yes, and clearly that's something that you could imagine if a banner starts to get in disrepair.
Yes.
Who's pointing fingers at, who's taking care of
Yes.
that? So I know you guys clarified that.
It's
would
the
be under-
banner owner. So if their banner gets ripped or something like that, they would have to buy a new banner. And it has nothing to do with the town. So if you buy the banner, it's your banner.
Got it.
Right. So I've talked to other townships, and I talked to one that has had them up for 5 years, and they look great. So, I feel like they'll be around for a while. And, if in 5 years they start to look shaggy, I could contact, the people that ordered them and say, hey, would you like to do a group, redo and buy a new one or something like that? And maybe more people would want to purchase them or something like that, but.
If businesses that are watching our meeting or here want to sponsor a banner but don't have a particular veteran, can someone make a donation to the
Absolutely.
Legion so that if a
Yes.
veteran's family
Yes.
can't afford the banner? Okay, cool.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like these banners are more than just decorations. They're symbols of a community that cares deeply about its veterans. They serve as a reminder that the sacrifices made by these men and women will never be forgotten. Jason's Brick is in the center of town, the courthouse. It's like the perfect community. I can't wait.
So you said 10 to start with is a requirement.
Yes, I have to order 10 at a time.
Would there be a ceremonial process annually, perhaps, to add new banners?
Oh, that's a
Or
good
we could sort
idea.
of celebrate every year and add a new batch of banners?
For sure, we could do that. Yeah,
Really like that.
yeah. But we have to have a cutoff this year.
Yes.
Yeah,
Understood.
yeah.
I don't think we'll have any struggle in this community getting 10.
Oh, yeah, I'm hoping that it's a lot more than that, but yeah.
And I know some of you out there know what a DD-214 is, but if you don't, that's the
Yes.
official military record. If that's something that you want to do to honor your family member and
Yes.
you're just not sure how to find that, I'm happy to help. There's other folks up here that are smart on that process too, but I applaud what you're doing. I'm so excited
Thank
to be on
you.
board.
I'm so excited that you guys are on board. I appreciate this.
Awesome. Thank you
very
for being
much.
here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Thanks for what you're doing.
All right, next up, Green Thumb Industries.
Good evening, Council. My name is Joseph Stevens. I'm the attorney for Green Thumb Industries here in Centreville and Queen Anne's County. And just by way of background, as you recall, we appeared before you, I think it was in September of last year, during the hearing for Ordinance 05-2023. Green Thumb Industries, through myself and Laura Brown, who was with me, indicated concerns about the ordinance in that it would prohibit the expansion of the growing facility, which they had purchased and had begun, under the applicable town regulations. But at the same time, during that meeting, Green Thumb Industries made a commitment to go back and take a serious evaluation of where odor may be emanating from on the facility. And the council very graciously deferred any action on the ordinance and asked Green Thumb Industry to go back and look and see what they could do and to address the real problems that have been identified by Green Thumb Industries, neighbors, and have been the focal point, really, of this ordinance. So I have with me today, I have Rebecca Brown. She's senior management with Green Thumb Industries, as well as Jeremy
Kashuba.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. I was going to say Kakuba. But, and you know both of them, but you know Jeremy in particular because he's been to some community meetings of late. And what we'd like to do is have Jeremy start by explaining what they did through a consulting engineering scientific firm, which is Bayer Engineering, but Bayer Scientific. And then after he's done explaining that, explaining what they recommended, explaining how he's going to implement that, then Rebecca is going to talk about the company's position in moving that implementation forward. And then I'd like to just wrap up and ask you what we'd like to ask you, okay? And we won't take more than 10 minutes. So
Great. And thank you, Council, for hearing us out here, and for the folks in town. Symphony Village as well was gracious enough to allow me to speak with them just a month ago or so and hear their concerns, as well as share a bit about what we're doing. So as a follow-up, as Joseph mentioned, we recruited a third-party engineering firm with a significant track record in the cannabis space of looking at odor mitigation, as well as providing engineering solutions to potential odor problems. They've been on site for us to do a full evaluation, as well as industrial hygienists to look at safety conditions and ensure we have 200 employees that are very near and dear to me in this site. So we did that before, even this odor mitigation situation was brought to our attention. The conclusion, just to wrap it all in a simple bundle, is our sources of odor that do emanate into the community, those are real. The concerns that were brought up are certainly real. The sources are from what we would call concentrated processes within the facility. We have some lab processes where we do extraction. We turn the cannabis plant into some oils that are used for different things and further processing into other goods. Those are the predominant sources. We have an outdoor grow, as folks know, as a part of our operation. That outdoor grow in and of itself is insignificant in terms of contribution to odor into the community. There is one concentrated process within the outdoor grow, however, that is identified and is a part of our proposed mitigation solution, where when we bring the plants down during the harvest time and we dry those plants to allow for further processing, there is a significant concentration event in those drying trailers, easily mitigated with the engineering solution that we've come up with. So with all that, the first was to understand the problem and be able to come back to the town and to all of you as the council with again, the outline of our solution. We do have that. It is a combination of an atomized application to certain higher concentration streams, higher velocity streams that do have, because of the safety requirements of certain things, they're what we call C1D1. They do require high velocity air. Those have an atomization solution that would be requisite for those because we can't inhibit the airflow coming through those, but we can mitigate and eliminate the odor that emanates from those. Other areas where the velocity of the air is of a lower speed, we're able to use static filtration with carbon filters that would be changed on a regular frequency. All of these things would undergo testing on a frequency to ensure efficacy. So at startup, there would be a testing process to ensure both the filtration amount in the static filters as well as the atomization application was meeting our standards and eliminating the odors that emanate from those sources. And then there would be ongoing testing that would validate that those things are remaining efficacious and would allow us to enhance PMs, change timing, change concentrations, things of that nature, should those become necessary. But we're really happy to be able to come back and present where the problem is, which is our concentration sources, lab processes, primarily kitchen processes where we concentrate, and drying trailer from the outdoor grow, and have a engineering solution that we are ready to implement. Rebecca can speak to that. We are ready to move forward with that particular set of solutions. It is a pretty broad set of solutions with obviously capital costs on the front end, ongoing costs, but we're willing to bear those as a part of being a great neighbor here in the town of Centreville.
And Jeremy, you did a letter, sent a letter to the council on December 13th. So that outlines what the conclusions were from Bayer.
Yes, sir.
and outlines the areas that were identified for reduction measures and mitigation measures.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's what it is. So we provided that sort of plan to you. Can you talk a little bit more just about monitoring, what that would entail, ongoing monitoring?
Yeah, so the monitoring solution, there are particular chemical attributes that would be able to be tested in a third-party lab. We would have, and the frequency buyers will determine for us as a third party. We will not determine that as GTI. That is not our expertise. The engineering firm will let us know what the testing frequency would be, what's daily, what's weekly, what's monthly, what's quarterly. Those things will become a plan for us. Those samples would then be collected, and they would go to a third-party lab looking for specific chemical attributes that would be indicative of odor. Those would then come back to us and allow us to evaluate, with the support of the third-party engineering firm, that what adjustments would be necessary, if any, or to confirm that the system is maintained properly and that the system is performing as expected with the concentrations that we desire.
What do you think a time frame for implementation and then monitoring would be, roughly?
Yeah, time frame for implementation, we do believe from approval and a PO, we could execute the actual capital solution within 2 months. We would need probably a month worth of testing to ensure that we had the system dialed in and performing. And that would be then the starting period of an ongoing monitoring period from that point forward. Once the system is installed, operational, and through the IQ, OQ, PQ process confirmed, we would then move into ongoing monitoring.
And what's your, based on your discussions with Bayer, what's your confidence level and based on your experience?
Incredibly confident. I've worked, as I've shared with most folks and with the Symphony Village folks, I've worked in food for 20 years. Odor mitigation is certainly something that is very, very germane to the food industry, especially with facilities that are in residential areas or in cities. And we have done similar solutions in the food industry for odors that some neighbors consider very noxious: onions, garlic, things like that that we'd use in cooking processes in a USDA facility. And this type of solution is something that I've applied before with very, very good success within city limits in certain areas. Up home where I live, near the Boston area, was one particular example where we've implemented a very similar solution with incredible effect.
And are you seeing these techniques used more frequently in this industry as regulators, whether it's state, government people, I guess in most instances, as the industry is now matured?
Indeed, there are states with a different set. As folks may or may not know, in cannabis, because it's not a federally regulated process as of today, state by state, the regulations are very different. There are states that are very, very particular about odor regulations. We operate in one of those states, and this is the exact solution that we are applying as we bring a facility online in that state. We don't have any proven odor because that facility is not yet operating, But because of the regulatory environment, this is the solution we opted with, because we have confidence from applications in other states that this will be, the proper solution to solve what it is that we're creating for the town of Centreville.
Thank you, and thank you for presenting at Symphony Village. I was there. I thought you did a
Oh, thank you so much.
really good job answering their questions. I'm sure we all have questions. I just have a couple personally. Joe, I gave you a heads up. I do want to know from a community relations standpoint, in addition to the science, what we're going to do to be good neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, look, we are kind of committed to listening to the concerns and responding to them. I hope this, and we are, I'll just add, prepared to move forward with these solutions. They require both a capital investment and then an ongoing investment in maintaining the systems and monitoring them. Those are expenses that we are already prepared to undertake and to move forward with. In addition, look, I'm aware that there have been some comments made perhaps about relationships with the town and, maybe that aren't so favorable about people's right to raise concerns. And I can just tell you that any comments that we have seen or been made aware of have been addressed. And, we have reminded and made clear to our entire staff that, and all of our, team members, that is not the way that we operate. That is not acceptable to us. We want to hear concerns so that we can address them. We've been operating here since 2016. I think we've had, we've built a very good relationship at least in our opinion. And, we show up at the meetings whenever there's anything to be discussed that we're aware of that concerns our company. And, Jeremy and my sister Laura attended a meeting at Symphony Village. So we want to hear these concerns, and I want to make sure that that's clear, and that's been also made clear to our team members.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the only other, look, there's very little I can add to the technical description that Jeremy gave. I'll just say, this is a significant expense. These filtration systems and these molecular atomizers and whatever they are not cheap. And there's, there's some disruption in our facility as well in terms of implementing them. But we are going to do it. We've allocated the capital, and, we intend to do this work. And it's the same work, as Jeremy mentioned, that's required in the strictest municipality in which we operate. So we're already taking this kind of to the top of where the regulations are. And we want to do that voluntarily. We want to do that because, we consider it a privilege to operate in this community, and we want to be a part of it. A part of our business plan as well is expanding our operations. So to the extent that, we are going to take these steps, we would ask in turn that you not pass an ordinance that automatically restricts our right to expand. If that happens anyway, it will be hard to make further investments when we are not, balancing those with expansion of the business itself. On the other hand, if we can continue this good relationship that we have and, figure out a way that we can grow without adding additional, unfavorable outcomes on the town or unfavorable externalities on the town, we can commit to continuing to address concerns as they come up.
I'd just like to add, if I could, is that, just kind of summarizing, the takeaway really, and I think that, and Jeremy had said this, is that the odor's not emanating from the grow. This ordinance is focused on the grow, and I know partly because of the lack of desire to have a lot of agriculture, a lot of plants throughout the business park. And so the ordinance doesn't address the real problem, and perhaps there's another aspect that the ordinance might be targeted at addressing, but we would certainly hope that, and we know that an ordinance could be structured in a manner that wouldn't prohibit somebody who's made an investment, bought a piece of property, put tens of millions of dollars into it, with the regulations that the town said were acceptable at the time, and some consideration of that. Even if the town decides that they don't want to have other agricultural uses in the business parks for, I think, the reasons that a couple of council people had expressed at one point. The other takeaway, I think, is that GTI is making a huge commitment without even knowing how you're going to vote. Okay, they're making that commitment to you now. That is a huge step, in terms of the company, and there's been a lot of dialogue with me and company management and these two people and their higher-ups in company management to get that done. And so we'd hope you'd give us the opportunity, give GTI the opportunity in good faith to let them come back in, and at some point, you'll be seeing how this works, leave the door open for the potential expansion of the grow facility. Really, that's all that they would be expanding is the outdoor growing part of it. The other takeaway, too, is that the town has, a lengthy and detailed site plan approval process. GTI has no plans in the works right now for the expansion. It's just something that's part of their overall business plan. If this solution doesn't work and the town is so inclined to think that limiting the grow might be the solution, as we say, in the land use facilitation field, a jurisdiction can act much quicker than we can get a plan approved. So there's nothing lost here, and really everything to gain, in my estimation, for the town. GTI is making this commitment. They don't even know how you're going to vote. But not passing this ordinance, they're very clear with you. They're going to continue not only this commitment, but continue with the monitoring. And then if issues arise, if this doesn't work and the community is justifiably complaining, they're going to step back in and figure out what to do. Okay? So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Councilmember Beecham?
Can I, please, thank you for coming in. I appreciate your cooperation with the community and your desire to help solve this problem with us. If I looked at a graph that the horizontal axis was the calendar, 12-month calendar, and the vertical axis would be emissions, do you have some concept of where the emissions fall in the calendar based on your production cycles and so forth? And is that a viable benchmark that we would use for where we are now? I know Byers came out once, not over the period of 12 months.
Correct.
But it'd be nice if we had some sense of a benchmark over that period to understand what the schedule of emissions under normal circumstances are, and then try to look at the targets, the benchmark that we're after, so we have something to measure against to see how successful you are. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. Seasonality, I'll answer twofold if I can. So we underwent a significant expansion indoors, as the town would know, to facilitate more production from the inside. That production process really began in earnest about 18 months ago, where we had many more rooms inside growing, and thus much more processing through our lab processes, our kitchen, the areas that are identified as a concern. They went from running maybe 1 day a week to running every single day and running on 2 shifts. So that was about 18 months ago where that process ramped up. So that would have been a step change in the potential to, have odor emanating through the community, call it 18 months ago, roughly speaking.
But your steady state operations now
is now
not constant flat line across all 12 months.
Correct. It is largely steady state with the exception of the fall, where late summer and fall, where we are harvesting from the outdoor, and as I mentioned, the drying trailer, that particular process is a concentrating process that would happen on a weekly basis during the late summer and the fall months. So our largest potential of emission is going to be during that time period of the year. Yes, during those months. Largely, other than that, our harvest cycle is a weekly cycle within the indoor, and that process goes year-round. The addition is when that outdoor comes and begins going through the processing of the drying trailer and into our extraction lab.
Sure. With the wind changing direction constantly, any given neighborhood is going to say it's this week, somebody else is going to say it's next month.
Correct.
It's going to change. So that's why I'm looking for some sort of schedule that you have out of your plant, that no telling which way it's going to blow, but it's coming out of the plant anyway.
Absolutely.
To use as our starting point.
I'll just add, the monitoring will be able to kind of set that benchmark as well.
Absolutely.
It won't give us, we could delay the implementation in order to get more historical data, though I don't think anyone wants
I don't
that.
think so.
I'm just going to put it out there. So we won't have, direct historical data to compare against, because we're going to be implementing the solution and then starting the ongoing monitoring basically at the same time.
I would bet you guys are smart enough to be able to draw that graph kind of instinctively, though, right? So we know when we're to look for. You answered one of my questions already about the schedule for remediation. I've got 2 months capital investment, 1 month for testing. So say by the end of April, assuming you're stepping in now, that would be your go time for that.
Yeah, but I think you were saying that a real, is June the date that we were talking about earlier internally about when you'd
Yeah,
really
we
know
certainly,
the
before
timing
Memorial
and
Day,
so on.
we- yeah, we wanted to make sure we were up and running as the summer holidays begin. Folks are outside at the pools and all of the things that would go on in a lovely place like this. So, yeah, our intention is by summertime. We will have, coming out of this meeting, things are already in motion with Buyer Scientific. They already have the solution ready. We're moving forward with getting that going. So, we intend to beat our goal. That's what we like to do, but Memorial Day is certainly the goal we had in mind, to be ahead of the summer months for folks.
So if we're looking for benchmarks on the calendar, that May 31 date you just mentioned would be to have your capital equipment installed and running.
That's correct.
And
And
then
we can certainly
some-
communicate as that changes.
Some 3 to 6 months after that would be your highest emission date, when we would also have, say, another timestamp to see how you're doing.
Correct, because the one process that would not run until that late summer, fall would be the drawing trailer outside. That will have mitigation, so that process will also receive the atomization solution.
Yep.
So we won't be able to test and fully commission that until, let's call it like late August. That would be when we would be putting that system into operation again.
And the graph that I'm imagining, if that's 100%, just say,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a target for what you're going for? Are you going for 5%, 2%, 0% of that? What's your goal, your target for emissions post-investment?
So the emission from all of these mitigated processes, again, I don't have exact, like, hey, this is the number. Is it going to be at 5%? Our target with buyers is how do we eliminate? How do we eliminate the fact that folks are picking up this odor, this scent coming out? So that is the target, right? Our goal on all the processes that are mitigated is to eliminate the impact of odor coming out of those. So that's where we're starting from. Success will be something slightly different than that, I'm sure, but our target is to go for what we've asked of our third party is an elimination solution. We haven't asked for simply put a Band-Aid. We've asked for an elimination solution.
And, one of the reasons I'm asking that is I would suppose that you would expect us to look to your success on data, not opinion. So that's
We
why
would
I'm
ask that,
asking.
yes.
So we know what data we're striving for, and we'll know if we get there or not. That's why I'm asking this question.
Absolutely, and we will have the metrics of which are going to be tracked and lab tested as a part of this, and I believe those would be metrics that again, like publishing those in some fashion, Rebecca would help us with how that would look to make sure that you had actual data to consider, and probably in a tabular form and a chart, as you're suggesting, to look at the seasonality effects of things.
And your third-party reporting you're talking about, that's probably something that you might be able to share with us as it comes out or not?
Absolutely.
I don't know that you want it in the public domain, but
Correct.
how
Correct.
we
That-
handle that, it'd be.
We'll handle that with
something to
Rebecca of
discuss.
what that
I
looks
think-
like.
I think we did talk about being able to come back and share that with you. I mean, that's what we
Right.
talked
We
about.
just
yeah.
need to kind of dial in with the Buyer Scientific, kind of how frequently we're going to get data from them that we can digest as well. But yeah, we can definitely figure out, I think, a regular reporting cadence and something that you can share publicly.
We'll need to find out if we need to treat that as confidential intellectual property of yours or not, competitive intelligence sort of stuff.
Understood.
And we'll try to work with you if that is indeed the case, so.
Thank you.
We anticipated that you'd want to see us again towards that May.
Sounds like we'll see you in June, Joe.
May.
It's a pleasure.
That you'd want to see us, to have this dialogue and see what has been developed. I mean,
Right.
we obviously don't want to, and I say we, my client and GTI doesn't want to, be doing something like, on a quarterly basis, or
Sure.
monthly, but we would think that, the time frame we just gave you, which is about a 6-month time frame to do everything, have it running and let them tweak it and then
Right.
let it run. Because what Jeremy explained was they're going to put it in, see what works and what doesn't. They've
Right.
got some fixing to do, and then they're going to let it run and see. And that after that second let it run period, it would be the time to sit down with you all, I would think, and say, here's what's worked, and here's where we need to improve upon if there are areas. And we would hope that public opinion would change with this too, not that it would not stay the same.
One would hope.
I mean, we would certainly hope, and that's.
So-
that's
Council
the
Vice
goal.
President.
So I'll be quick. I do want to note a couple positive things first. As we all know, there's a tremendous amount of public discourse that is less than polite, I'll just say that. And so on all sides of this equation, there have been things said about, what the odor concern is really about is folks that sit in judgment of those who use marijuana medicinally or recreationally. And while I absolutely believe that contingency is out there, it certainly doesn't represent everybody that's concerned about the odor. And so I want to thank all three of you for coming tonight. You've continued to come to the table when you don't have to, and this is what government business relations are all about, partnership. So first, the fact that you right on the outset conceded that there is an odor and that there is a way to mitigate it, I think is music to the entire community's ears, regardless of where you sit on this equation. The other thing that I just wanted to draw attention to is the fact that in your plan, as you submitted, Jeremy, the fact that you use the term neutralization as opposed to masking. That is so important. I think that's what we're all seeking, so thank you for that. My questions kind of tie in well with my fellow Councilman Beecham's question about the seasonality, the measures involved. I had a conversation with Joe before the holidays and just kind of talked briefly about ideally seeing if you are able to provide it a similar set of data in a grid, a table where each of these different mitigation elements are mentioned and those different measures are indicated, the benchmarks, the targets that you seek. And if it is complete elimination of the odor, is that measured by the particles that can be measured scientifically? However you do that, I just think it helps as we continue to tell the story that not only are you investing a significant amount of money to make this happen, but the proof is in the pudding. This is what it looks like before we did anything. This is what it looks like after. And hopefully our subjective feedback that we're getting from the community is fewer complaints, fewer concerns. And then I just want to draw one last item. Oh, I did have one more question and then one final comment. A point that I made, and if you may recall this, Jennifer, I said Jennifer, Rebecca. When we first talked, I know there's a certain amount of innovation that takes place at the Centreville site. I've had an opportunity to tour, as I think everybody up here has. Incredible facility. If you're in the audience at home and you haven't had a chance to look at their facility, I highly encourage you to do that. It's breathtaking. But we know that there's a certain amount of innovation there. So a concern that I will continue to have is how much of that innovation leads to potential odors and impacts that the industry itself hasn't necessarily developed solutions for. And so just kind of that ongoing commitment that you guys are part of this industry, and this industry now has academic journals and folks are developing solutions like the company Bayer Scientific that you've engaged. So at any rate, if you could just comment on that, and then I have one final comment and I'll be quiet.
Yeah, if I can speak to that one. So our R&D center has historically been here in Centreville. We made a business decision to actually, for some of the reasons you've mentioned, to move that facility to Illinois. So we will no longer be doing what I would call our scientific upfront processes that do have unknowns. There are variables that we don't understand when we go down a scientific experimental process. We are going to be doing those near our corporate headquarters in Illinois from this point forward.
So a follow-up to that, how many employees that were previously employed in Centreville will now not be?
Right now, the impact was to 3 employees. We have several folks out of that team that were reemployed, have moved, or have joined the Centreville operation, as a matter of fact.
I mean, I'm glad you're worried about the specific people. I'm talking about numbers.
Yeah, 3 folks impacted. Only 3 folks impacted.
So there were only 3 R&D jobs in town?
No,
I'm not talking about impact to actual people. I'm talking about jobs.
Oh, so the total R&D team would have been 6 or 7.
Okay.
3 impacted. The remainder of the team has either assimilated into the operation of Centreville or moved to other parts of the business operation or to the new R&D center.
It's disappointing to me to hear that that's moved, but I suppose that's sort of what we get.
I just said that our numbers are up overall, even since the last time I was here. We're up, 20, 25 employees, and we are, I believe we're close to 200, if not there, and,
We were at
by next month, we'll probably be
140
at
at the
200.
start of that decision, and we are pushing to 209 very shortly. So we have actually, total employment base has gone up significantly.
But you are right,
One
that it
specific
does
group
change
impacted.
sort of the nature of some of the roles.
Yeah,
So
and from the
it's-
first time you and I spoke months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it skews now less of the higher end roles and.
A little bit because of that.
Got it.
And I did just have one final comment, and I'm just going to read it because I think it speaks for itself. In the last, second to last paragraph in your memorandum, Jeremy, It says, if and when GTI makes site plan application to expand its outdoor growing on Lot K, the application will include a thorough assessment of possible odor sources and mitigation measures for the expanded outdoor facilities, which the Planning Commission may consider as part of its review to ensure the expansion will not result in an increase in odor. So I just applaud you for your commitment to that. The fact that, as Joe, you indicated early on, that a commitment has been made to invest in this without even knowing where we stand in our decision as we move forward in the agenda. So thank you for coming tonight.
Great. No, and thank you very much. And as we said, I can't understate how important it is that they're able to have that ability to move forward that you just read with those caveats, with that understanding. So we very much would appreciate it if that ordinance did not pass. Thank you.
Do you have anything?
No,
I have nothing.
Councilmember Johnson addressed mine, the odor, the future.
Okay.
The future, so, yep.
All right, well, I thank you all for being here, and
Thank you.
we're about to go into citizens' comments, so, stick around.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
the time. Thanks, Joe.
It's the signage.
Okay.
Here,
Yeah, that's great.
thank you.
We've had like a whole meeting here before we got to citizens' comment. I at one point thought I maybe accidentally skipped it, but no, we're going in the right order here, y'all. We will now enter our first citizens forum. Citizens are requested to keep their comments to 3 minutes. Council presidents past have had flexibility there. 3 minutes, it's over. That thing beeps, send me an email, because we
I
got.
do have the thing if you want me to.
Okay,
read it.
awesome.
I don't have to do it by memory this time.
Oh, you did it, though.
I
So
did.
You did.
if you could read the
Yeah.
public comment statement.
Welcome to this meeting of the Centreville Town Council. This is a public meeting and we welcome your participation. By attending, you acknowledge that this session is recorded and aired live on QACTV 7. During the meeting, we ask that you turn your cell phones off and hold personal conversations outside the meeting room. The scheduled agenda is available on the information table just outside. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The Town Council respects and appreciates your desire and right to convey your message freely, and in keeping with the dignity of proceedings, we ask that all views be expressed in a respectful and civil manner. Comments longer than 3 minutes should be submitted in writing. If questions are a part of your comments, we will refer those to the appropriate individual. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have a couple people signed up. We'll start there, and then just anybody can jump on up. Pat Fox?
Good evening. Am I close enough? Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, yeah. One thing I'd like to request is whether or not we can get a written report, if you will, of the comments that were made tonight, so we can share it with our community of Symphony Village. It'd be easier to do it that way than versus me trying to interpret what I heard, although I was taking notes furiously. Question is, we've noticed a lot of strong odor here lately, so we don't know, did GTI try anything in this last few weeks to try to mitigate, or even the last couple of months? So just curious about that. And let's see, did I have anything else on here? No, we're excited to see what next steps we can take with this to address the problem. I like the word eliminate. Yes, definitely. So thank you. And we have some others from Symphony Village who may be speaking as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Next on the sign-up sheet is Jeff Armstrong.
So I'm actually the regional director for Green Thumb. All the people in Centreville work for me. I work for Jeremy. Just wanted to highlight 190 good-paying jobs in the town, on our way to 220 and beyond. So excited about being here in Centreville, looking to participate more in the community, get our folks out there. A lot of team members do live in the town and the county and the surrounding areas. We're excited to be a continued participant in this community. It's important to us. So really, any way we can get involved, please let us know.
Awesome, thank you. And I will say, when I had an initial conversation with GTI, the numbers of employees that live here was impressive to me, and I do appreciate, the corporate citizenship of your company. So, all right, there's no one else on the sign-up sheet, but there's so many of you here, so I'm sure someone's got something to say. Sure, come on up. If you could just state your name for the record and whether or not you live in town, that'd be awesome.
My name's Thomas Seymour, and I'm a resident of Symphony Village. I was just wondering, is your solution now to a point where you have plans and details and specifications for what you plan on installing?
We're not going to have a back and forth between members. You're welcome to address the council.
Okay.
So you can ask us questions, and if you want us to go to GTI, but we're not going to get into a back and forth between people
Okay.
at our meeting.
Is there a permit and evaluation by the town of what they plan to do?
I think we've talked a lot up here about them coming back and providing us data. So I'm not really sure what you're asking that wasn't already answered.
I'm asking if somebody's going to review their plan for approval.
That's what we're doing tonight.
I don't think our goal is to do an engineering study for them. It's really to, the proof is in the pudding, really. If they can eliminate the odor, we don't really care how they do it, okay? And that's really the bottom line, is how they eliminate the odor, is that they eliminate the odor. So.
Okay, we're good.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Councilmember Worth. Okay, anyone else? Come on up, state your name and whether or not you live in Centreville.
I'm Joe Sykes. I'm also from Symphony Village. I'd like to say that Jeremy's presentation was great when he came to Symphony Village, and we really appreciated it. It looks like you've delivered on what you told us you were going to do. What I have learned over time, and this is not meant to be rude, but what I've learned over time is that there's another source of the smell that I don't think has been addressed, and the source is the clothing of the people that work in the facility. And I can tell you, when you came to Symphony Village, I didn't know you were there, and I turned around and I said, who's that came in here? And it was you, because you had just come from the facility. So I'm wondering if there's something about the workforce, and maybe Jack can answer this better. Are there lab coats, or are there things that they can change out of? Because they're going to be in and around the community all the time. So
we're not going to get into back and forth.
I'm sorry, that's right. I didn't.
That question was asked super respectfully, but we just, in the
Yes.
event that the next person's is not, I don't want to get in the back and forth. But I am personally curious for that answer. So if someone from GTI wants to jump up when this gentleman's done and answer that question, that would be fantastic.
Yes. I just remembered seeing him, so I shouldn't have talked to him. Sorry. Thank you very much.
No, appreciate that. Thank you. And so if we could,
Hello, Jeremy Kashuba again. So yes, to the question, we actually, our folks, while they're working in the facility, we do treat it very much like an FDA food facility. So we actually wear scrubs, very similar to a hospital. That said, the clothes are in a locker room. Obviously, they come into the facility and change, and hence, like what you saw on me coming directly from the facility that particular day is indicative of, their clothes being in the locker room, being in the environment. It's an interesting challenge to think about, how we would mitigate that on their clothing, because it does inside the facility, though we've done industrial hygienist testing in detail to prove the safety of what's in the facility. The odor is present on your clothing when you're inside the facility. So, but note, we do wear scrubs. If you come over, you would wear a bunny suit, like a Tyvek suit, to be out in the facility, because we treat it with all of the FDA required food safety requirements.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else wish to comment on GTI or anything else? Come on up and then we'll go to you, ma'am.
My name is Mark Emerson. I live just down the street here in Chesterfield. To Councilman Beauchamp's discussion on the data, I applaud that. I work in the aerospace industry with a lot of engineers. Data is how we make decisions. I just want to make sure that there's rigor in setting the baseline, what it is, and then where are we when these different installations go in and so forth. Obviously, I can smell it all the way over on Chesterfield from time to time. So as long as there's good rigor, and if it's a third party doing it, then that's probably even better in terms of it. I'm used to looking at a lot of graphs, charts, analysis. I would hope that we would see curves that say this is where we are now, here's where we are after installation. If there's any way to go, obviously the solution is nobody smells anything and we're all good, and go from there. So I just ask, thank you very much, Councilman, and hopefully we can put that rigor into it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm short. Hi, I'm Julie Seymour. I live in Symphony Village. I just have one quick question. In Delaware, the poultry industry, as you know, you drive through Delaware, you smell that chicken odor. So they have a 1-800 type of number that you call and report if you smell that. And that goes back on the particular chicken farm that's emanating the odor. Are we going to have something like that? You know, some sort of number, you know, that we just call and say, hey, we just want to report this, we smell this, just for them to help keep track.
I mean, I think I can speak for the council. We'd love to know that if residents are still smelling it after the mitigation efforts. So I would say Town Hall's number, 758-1180, if you can call and be kind to our staff when you do it. But I think we'd want to know, and we would share that with GTI. I'm also sure GTI wants to know and can set something up. We have information on our website already relative to GTI, and that's probably something we can get on the website in terms of public communication. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I did not know that
Carrie
about Delaware.
complainer, but you know, it's just something that, you know, gives everybody that, hey, you know, if this fails, then, you know, we just, you know, fix it again.
I think that's a great suggestion. I'm hopeful that we're not going to have to call, but if we do, it would be great to have a place to call.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
And if we do have those calls, it'd be good to have the address and a timestamp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put that together and see if we can detect any patterns that might correlate or not with the wind and see if that helps us. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Anyone else wish to comment on this or anything else? You know, it doesn't have to be about GTI. Come on up.
Good evening, Joe Brown from Symphony Village. So I was at the meeting in Symphony Village last summer, late August, and I thought it was a pretty good presentation. What strikes me about this is we've seemed very quickly to have gotten a solution. And my question is, why didn't they get the solution ahead of time? Why didn't they know about this? And it's almost like, are they trying to slide by without having to do the work? But now they realize they have to. So I'm just a little cautious about how fast. I mean, they brought all these consultants in, they were doing this and that, and now we got a solution that fast. Let's hope it's really a solution.
Yeah, you know, I'm very hopeful. I can't speak for them, but I'll say I'm not going to replace my roof unless it's leaking. So I think, you know, the complaints probably drove some of this. Some many hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars investment to fix this. Who would do that voluntarily, Joe? I don't know. But let's be hopeful, positive.
I agree with that.
Awesome. All right, anyone else wish to comment? Again, it doesn't have to be about GTI. We could talk about Christmas parades or, you know, whatever anyone wants to talk about.
I have a quick question, just sort of as a follow-on to Mr. Brown's comments. And Jeremy, you may be able to clarify this. You had mentioned that this is a requirement for these types of solutions. Was it in Boston that you had mentioned?
In cannabis in
New Jersey, I apologize. So, exactly. And I don't claim to have a crystal ball, but if I did, I would say I know Maryland is working diligently at the state level on a variety of pieces of legislation and things that we should be looking at the local level. And I think it's only a matter of time before states make reciprocal moves to adopt similar measures. So the fact that you guys are jumping in because of the concerns that have been raised, again, just want to applaud you for that.
All right, do we have anyone else who wishes to make a comment? All right, well, you'll have another crack at it at the end of our meeting. Moving on to old business, the first thing up, Ordinance 05-2023, Chapter 170, Indoor Agriculture Consideration, and this is sponsored by Council Members Johnson and Worth.
If Councilman Worth doesn't mind, I'll kind of go first in teeing this up. So I know when a few of us first were favorable toward this, I can't speak for everyone up here, but at least myself, I know it was in the spirit of if we have a problem and it is so overwhelmingly, the alarm has been sounded, and by so many far and wide, then let's basically have a moratorium until we get a handle on this. I think the GTI folks coming in from the very beginning, going into the community and having town hall meetings, your presence tonight, the work that you've done with your vendor here, the scientific approach to this situation to eliminate the odor, not just mask it, has me really seriously looking at a pause in my own mind on whether we need legislation at this point. That being said, the reason I read what I did earlier is why I feel confident in saying that, at least from my perspective tonight, I am not in favor at this point in this legislation, at least at this time.
Yeah, for me, from what we've heard, and I have no reason to disbelieve it, this is legislation that I said this from the very beginning. It's a solution in want of a problem. So there is a problem. This doesn't solve it. I'm not in favor of just tabling this over and over like a guillotine over the town's largest private employer. So I would love to see it just sort of go away, personally.
Okay. I was going to suggest that we amend the ordinance so that instead of prohibiting the expansion, enlargement, or extension of the outdoor grow, that it be allowed on adjoining properties that are currently owned by existing operations.
I'm personally not in favor of that, but I mean, you're a council member who's welcome to offer whatever legislation you desire.
Yeah.
To me, we're talking about the town's largest private employer. They own some land currently and have an option to purchase other land. There is other land in the business park. We have a business park that is attempting to grow, that is attempting to attract tenants, that we really just go out of our way, not just as a council, but as a town in general, to make sure they're unsuccessful. We've just heard that GTI's R&D is leaving Centreville because of sort of the way we behave towards anything different. I'm just disinclined to say, you know what, we're going to keep hanging something over your head forever instead of taking them the good faith that they came here with. If it doesn't work, we can introduce whatever we want to introduce. But I also think there's this misconception out there, and I've heard it from a number of people over the last few months, that there is some application in front of us for expansion at GTI that we're considering, and that's why this happened, and that's not true. And so there's so much wrong information out there, and it's really just a kick in the teeth to a really positive employer in our town. And so I remain against us legislating against a private business because of some citizen complaints. I think they are here and willing to work with us, and we should give them that opportunity. And if at some point the data doesn't look real, or the town still stinks, or whatever, then we have tons of flexibility to do things. But to just say, we're going to keep holding something over your head forever, feels like they're the only ones coming in good faith, and we're just going to sit up here in bad faith because we can.
So, Madam President, my suggestion tonight, in light of everything we've heard, is I think we should proceed with an up or down vote on this. If the vote is not in favor of advancing this ordinance, then, as you just eloquently indicated, we have the option, if we look at this mitigation plan and we continue to get feedback from our residents that it's a problem, it hasn't been successfully mitigated, there's plenty of time to do that. I think the timeline makes sense. And at that point, we can bring up legislation again if that becomes appropriate at that time. But that's
They don't have to bring legislation because it can go through the planning process.
Right.
So they yay or nay. So you don't have to introduce something to.
I concede that. I'm just saying we always have the option.
Yeah.
So if we vote it down
Yes,
tonight, it doesn't mean we
exactly,
can never
yes.
bring it up again.
Exactly. That's what my next thing was. They said, if we had to, we could bring it up again.
I mean, the ordinance can just die
think we-
unless
yes.
there's a motion and a second to pass it, which I don't know that you got that
Yeah,
up
well,
here.
I wanted to amend it, not just let it die. So, and just get it over with, to amend it to allow the expansion onto adjoining properties. So,
To me, I think if we were to, and Sharon, I defer to you, that sounds like a material change to me where we're back to the beginning of this, and the private property owner of the business park should receive notice. I raised issues about notice related to this issue when this legislation first went in, and I'm who contacted GTI just because I felt like, hey, I'd want to know. And so to me, that's an amendment so significant that I'd want us to start over anyway.
So this ordinance as written is not perfect. I get it, Dan. There's room for improvement for it. We heard their desire to start their implementation process. It's a major capital investment that they're intending to do. They're talking about a May 31. I will make a motion before this council that we table this until our June 6 council meeting.
Is there a second for that?
All right?
All right, motion fails for lack of a second. Are there any other motions related to this legislation?
I made the motion, we remove it, get rid of it.
that a thing, or do we just let it die?
Let it die. Or let it die, whatever.
You could, I guess, make a motion to.
Withdraw it?
Yeah, or withdraw it. Although typically the person who proposed it would withdraw it.
So a forced
If
withdrawal.
you accept that as a friendly amendment, I would second that.
You're making a motion to withdraw the ordinance from consideration? Yep. And you're seconding it.
Okay,
Discussion.
yes. Well, this isn't just an ordinance about the GTI, this is about any other potential grow facility might come into the business park, and we've already heard rumors that that might be the case. So, but without an odor control ordinance, we really have no control over what happens at the planning commission level. Okay, they could, and we can't provide like technical criteria at this point because we have no ordinance that says this is what you need to do in order to control odor. It'd be unfair to any other competitor coming into the business park to not, without, GTI's forced to mitigate all these odors. There's really nothing for a future applicant that would require that they do the same. We just have to wait for the other cycle of more complaints of, about the odor. And it's like, I think we need an odor control ordinance before we can really, allow any other outdoor grow.
And maybe let's do one of those. I mean,
Yes.
to me, I just, this doesn't get us anywhere.
Right.
Other than to say, sorry, owner of the business park, sorry, town's largest private employer, but we just don't care.
But it's essentially a moratorium to prevent anyone else from
But I-
going in and doing an outdoor grow
This
facility.
ordinance doesn't introduce
And-
anything about smell.
And over the last couple
Right.
of years, we've talked about moratoriums related to a number of things. And different iterations of council up here have decided, why would we do a moratorium when we're sort of in control? We have the flexibility to introduce something and do it then. And so,
Okay.
I mean, we can make motions all night, but on the table is a motion to withdraw the ordinance and a second. So is there any further discussion about that? Not potential other legislation, but about that?
With respect to the motion on the table, the reason I feel so strongly about why I seconded that is because of the exact quote that I gave. So the next best thing is a commitment that we have in writing from this organization to mitigate. And so I'm comfortable with that. I don't disagree that I think where we are in this town and the issue of odors and impacts on the community's quiet enjoyment of their properties is worth looking at. I absolutely think that's worth looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure GTI would also love us to hold any other competitor to the same level. So, yeah, I think we'd have a lot less debate about that. So we're going to roll call vote because this is a little unusual. If there's no further discussion about the motion in front of us.
Motion is to withdraw this. from
Withdraw
consideration.
this ordinance from
So a
consideration.
yay means you want it withdrawn. Just
Appreciate that.
Yeah, make sure it's yes.
I was going to mess that up myself. Councilmember Beecham. No. Council Vice President Johnson. Yes. Councilmember Worth.
Yay.
Okay, 3-2. The ordinance is withdrawn, and it sounds like we'll have some, I'm going to learn so much about cannabis and odor.
Now,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have had a lot of fun tonight. This is my favorite thing we've got in front of us. An update on we'll give people a minute to cycle out. An update on the town manager position. At the start of this meeting, I read a closed session statement that indicated that the council met last month and made the decision to extend an offer of employment to an individual to be our town manager. And I think, not that anyone pays attention to the timestamps we read at the top and bottom of those closed session statements, but I think that it was a relatively quick decision because the person that we've decided to make our town manager is just an incredible professional and someone that we all have an absolute ton of faith in. And so I try not to make motions up here, but I am going to make a motion to appoint Carolyn Brinkley as the permanent town manager instead of acting for the town of Centreville, and would appreciate a second on
And
that.
I will second that.
Sounds like everybody
in
seconded
unison.
it.
We got a third, fourth, and a fifth.
And we're going to take a roll call vote too, just because why not? Councilmember Beecham.
It's yes this time, not.
Yes, means. Council Vice President Johnson.
I'm probably not supposed to say hell yes, so I won't say that. Yes.
And I am a yes, no easier yes I've ever made up here. Councilmember Worth.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Councilmember
yes.
Keel.
Thank you. Very
But
nice.
we are all. All right, and now before she has a chance to run, we're going to go ahead and swear her in. Yeah. Try not to break this up.
I almost brought that.
No promises. All right, please raise your right hand, say aye, pronounce your name in full, and repeat after me.
I, Carolyn May Brinkley,
Do solemnly affirm that I will support
do solemnly affirm that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
without
partiality or prejudice,
partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of Town Manager of the Town of Centreville,
execute the office of Town Manager of the Town of Centreville,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state,
the Town Charter,
the Town Charter,
and laws and ordinances of the Town of Centreville.
and laws and ordinances of the Town of Centreville.
Congrats, and thank you. I never swear people in, I just want to point that out. I'm just on and off.
Has she signed that letter yet?
Right.
No picture for you to sign, come on.
Oh, gosh, I didn't know you were there.
All right, just keeps getting more exciting. FY 2025 budget work session schedule.
All right, so in your package, you'll have a draft of the budget timeline. And I just wanted to go over a couple dates with you. If you could get back to me in the next week or two and let me know if you have any issues with any of these dates, we'll adjust accordingly.
All of them.
So, in February, we should be receiving the constant yield, so then we can look at the property tax rate and come up with calculations. Carolyn and I started the budget process actually yesterday. So we've had our first meeting with department heads. We're working through the process to present the draft budget and the capital to council on March 7th. We're looking at, last year we did 3 work sessions. The 4th one took about 10 minutes. So this year I've scheduled 4. They are on Thursdays. They start at 5:30. Some will be in conjunction, like we'll have it, then the meeting, and then we can go back in if needed. And the final adoption of the budget would be in June. So nothing major, but if you could just let me know at some point if any of these dates conflict with anything in your schedules, and we can adjust accordingly. That's all I have.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any correspondence? Oh, okay. Reports of boards and commissions, Maryland Municipal League.
This coming Wednesday, the Maryland Municipal League is hosting their legislative reception in Annapolis.
Awesome. I try to be out of town and on a beach when the Annapolis legislative session starts every year since I stopped being a lobbyist here, and so that is where I will be, but I hope that you or someone from the town
Extraordinary
goes.
event.
It is
It's
definitely a great event.
Well attended, very well packed.
Yes, awesome.
You want to communicable disease, that's the place to go.
If you don't get one here.
This time of respiratory illnesses running rampant, yes.
Awesome, thank you for that update. Council of Governments.
No report, meeting next week.
Say no report, we have the tax differential.
It is tax set off.
Yeah, tax differential, and it'll be at Mama Mia's. The email hopefully will go out tomorrow to remind everybody.
Right for me.
The same day and time as the MML reception.
Yeah.
That would be correct.
Yes.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer, there we go.
All right, economic development.
Yeah, just briefly, as I've shared up to this point, we have an organization that has formed with the acronym, I'm big on acronyms, CREED, Centreville Reaching for Economic Development Enterprise. I've asked Joe Brown and a few others, local business leaders that have agreed to serve, and more invites to come. But this is an organization that will be, the intent is for it to be a public-private partnership, and through its nonprofit status that it now has through the Midshore Community Foundation, we're in a position to apply for grants in a way that it might be something that if the town wanted to go after it as a government organization, we would be ineligible, but this organization could. So lots more to come, but excited to kick that off this year.
Awesome, thank you. Park Advisory Board, I regret that I missed the meeting this week, just start of the year. Kids are still Christmas hungover, and I couldn't ditch my husband twice this week, and I chose here over Parks Board. I apologize, but we'll get an update before the next meeting. Planning Commission.
I believe they meet again on the 17th of January. So.
Okay, great. All right, moving on to reports of department heads. Town manager.
I have just a couple things. One, I just wanted, since Councilmember Worth talked about Planning Commission, we are working on getting the comp plan, the new comp plan up on the website. I think we're just having a few technical difficulties. So tomorrow is our plan to get that up there. If anybody wants to sit and read that this weekend when it's rainy. And
I'm still hoping for snow.
It's going to be snow.
I'm holding out too.
I bought my kids snowsuits. It's definitely not going to snow.
Pajamas inside out. So I have reported before that we're before the commissioners for an amendment to their county water and sewer plan for the upgrade of the treatment plant, and to ask for the stream discharge to be included. They are meeting again on Tuesday, and we'll discuss it. We'll see how that goes. So we are, in addition to that, we have met with the Corsica River Implementers Group regarding a stream discharge. We have a meeting on the 17th with the residents of Quail Run, thank you. And we also have a meeting on the 16th with MDE to get some more information, a lot, which we totally understand. A lot of people have concerns over the stream discharge, but we don't have that information until MDE tells us what we can and can't do. So I attended my first police officer graduation, and I believe Councilmember Worth was there as well. I didn't see him, but
Why did I hear there?
Yeah, I didn't know you were there either. We didn't see each other. I heard you were there, but so that was a really cool experience to see. So our new officer, Hillary Roten, I hope I'm saying her name right, fantastic officer, and got a few awards for her athletic ability. So, and then, like Karen said, we started our budget meetings. Staff started their budget meetings yesterday to start working through our process before we come to the council. So that's all I have right now. And thank you all very much. So I'm very excited to be here. And
So you brought your fan club too?
I brought my fan club, yes. Yes.
She's a keeper. I do have a quick question.
Sure.
So I know you probably don't have any significant updates to report. We probably would have seen an email, but I think all of us would be anxious in the near future to get a formal update on the wastewater treatment facility funding, all of that. Just kind of where are we, and are there milestones that we can start to sort of move through in spite of not having the full $30+ million, but having the 20? I know I'm getting anxious about that. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
when you're ready, but we would
We
like
can
to.
give an update anytime you want to.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Janelle is our expert on that. And,
No doubt.
and so, yeah, we're happy to. We can set that up for the next meeting or whenever you
If
want.
council's okay with it, I would
Yeah.
like, that would be great, I think.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be great. Maybe we get an update on the lay of the land from our lobbyists, either in writing, because it's the first week of session, or would be great. Town manager, it's your discretion. Any other department heads you need to bring up here
I
tonight?
don't think so. We don't have anything else. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll now go into our second citizens forum. Once again, citizens are requested to keep their comments to 3 minutes. If there are any citizens that want to talk about anything, Jamie, if you have anything at all. I like to call up Council Vice President Johnson's wife every meeting if I can.
no.
So if you have anything to share, we'd love to hear. We're just going to start calling this Jamie Johnson's Thoughts on Life.
I just want to say thank you to all the families that participated in all the Christmas and holiday stuff this season. We had a lot of kids that brought a lot of letters to Santa, and he let me read some of them, and they were amazing. All the kids, the things they said about Santa and their families and stuff, and the house decorating contests. We didn't have as many people as we were hoping, but I know that'll grow bigger next year. So I just wanted to thank everyone, and all the houses look great this season, and just thank everyone for holiday spirit. And the menorah was great, and everything you did, Ashley, to bring that, and I really loved everything. So I just want to thank everybody for the holidays.
And thank you so much for volunteering just countless hours towards the holidays and everything else, and keeping Eric straight and making sure he gets here.
Full-time job.
Does anyone else wish to address the council? You have 3 minutes. Can be your thoughts on life too, not just Jamie's.
Yes, I can.
Right, anything at all, Paul. Okay. We will now go into, guys, I've had a lot of caffeine today, I'm really sorry. Council roundtable, Councilperson Keel.
I have nothing.
Oh, okay. Councilmember Beecham.
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Worth.
Oh, yes, can we get this letter from GTI posted on our website?
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because we already have a page, I guess, dedicated to
Yeah, we have
questions
some
and
of them
answers, so we
there
can just
already.
include this, so we don't have to mail
Write
it out
it.
to everybody or whatever. Okay.
Awesome.
See, I thought I had something else. What is it? I've been getting questions and complaints about the mill once again, and it seems to be continually deteriorating, and I think we need to take some kind of action on this.
Oh, the mill. I thought you said
Mill.
the bill, and so I thought you were talking about water
The mill,
bills.
the mill.
And then,
Yes, that we all kind of drive by every day, and.
the mill looks worse and worse and worse.
Yes, and nothing has happened despite promises in the
Yeah.
past,
Carolyn, any,
Chapter 31 comes to mind.
Well, I actually was speaking with Sharon the other day about it, and then I don't know that it had been done before, but I ended up reaching out to Maryland Historical Trust, just saying, it is on the registry, so is there anything that you guys can do to help with this? I've not heard anything back from them. That was earlier this week. So if the council has, I know we obviously want it fixed. I just don't know that it's going to, after the many years of going through
Yeah.
this, I don't know that it's going to get any better than.
yeah, I think we probably need to just start having an understanding of our full scope of options related to the mill, because I understand the sensitive historic nature of it. I think no matter what happens with the mill, we're going to hear from lots of people on both sides of it, but historic or not, nobody's going to care that it's a historic building that lands on them on 213. So I do think we have to talk about it.
State Highway also should step in because it's going to fall on their road.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know
maybe
what they
we-
can do.
And take out power lines. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And that's
Get
what's-
everybody that might need to
Right.
care involved.
Yes.
That's what's gotten my attention in the latest round of social media traffic, is it has largely been more about the safety implications and not the aesthetics and how bad it looks.
Yeah.
So
That buckle has gotten bad.
yeah, I'm glad that we're proceeding down this path.
Appreciate you raising that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Well, no, I do plan on working on an odor control ordinance. And in addition, there's other parts of the code related to cannabis that need to be modified. So
Got it.
hoping that
I look forward to it.
Work with the town attorney on that, so. Okay.
Awesome. right, Council Vice President Johnson.
I just want to kind of remind everybody how tough our jobs are up here. I'm not looking for any sympathy because we ran. But
I'm looking for sympathy.
I want folks to really understand that if you're disappointed in the discussion that we had tonight and not moving forward with the ordinance, that's the level of confidence that I have in this company, GTI, in executing their mitigation plan. And more importantly, I think there's not a person up here that has, we all have every intention of holding them accountable to this. So I know I'm going to be all over it, the data, everything else. So just want to note that.
Awesome. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, I just have one topic, the plastic bag bill. This is our first week of it being live out in the world.
Thank you for all those text messages I got.
Yes, so that, you know, just would love to talk about that. So if you're at checkout at a store and you like really feel like yelling at somebody about a bag, first of all, whatever you've got going on, I hope it gets better. And second, don't yell at the clerk working there. And I'm just going to say my cell phone number right now, and you can call and yell at me about plastic bags all day and night. Don't mind. 410-758-7067. You're at checkout. You think, man, I really want to give it to this clerk because she can't legally give me a bag. Just call me instead. It's our fault, not theirs. So we can do that. Second, I've heard from a couple of businesses that they're really having trouble getting bags. So many bans went in place, not just in Maryland, but many in Maryland, including Anne Arundel County, but over the country on January 1st, many, many, many. So your paper bag maker, you're like, sweet, let's jack the price. Talk to one local business. Was going to cost them 31 cents. Thankfully, I was able to put them in touch with another vendor, and they're able to get bags a little bit cheaper. But I saw an Anne Arundel County council person said in the paper today, if we stop thinking of it as a bag ban and think of it as the bring your own bag bill, then maybe you won't be so mad at checkout either. But I just really, it's nothing, and I said this about the Christmas parade, which I think Carolyn's going to punch me if I keep saying Christmas parade, but I said this about the Christmas parade. The people that you're mad at aren't the people that you're calling. They're not the people that are working at Acme. They're not the people that are working at the pharmacy, right? You're mad at us. We're who did whatever it is we did to you. We're who did it. And so please do just call and yell at the person you're mad at. And I'm happy to take that. But I'm not happy for town staff to take it, and I'm definitely not happy for neighborhood businesses to take it. And I think we all want to see our Centreville businesses succeed. And so if you go to a store and you're buying one item and you think, oh my God, I'm going to give them 10 cents and it's going to cost them another 20 to get me this bag, skip the bag or bring a bag. And if you need reusable bags, Carol D'Agostino, our Main Street manager, has ordered some beautiful ones with the Shop Centreville logo on them. There are tons of businesses in town that have them, and just, if you're having trouble finding a bag, you can call me, I'll get you a bag. We'll make it happen for you to have a bag. But just appreciate everybody giving each other some grace as implementation occurs, and being kind to our local businesses, because the town doesn't survive without them. We need more of them, not less. So that's all I have.
Thank you for saying that.
Here's here.
And we'll now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Second. Third.